Yeah, those days growing up. I told you the story about burning up the field,
Yeah.
in our neighborhood, my brother Mike and I anyway, but right on the edge of our property where we lived and we grew up, this uh, electric company had left all their logs piled up for their log telephone poles.
Hmm.
It was a pile of them, 40, 50 of them all, they weren't moving anymore. They weren't rolling. They were stable.
Right.
So we used to play on them, play tag, run around on them.
Yep.
And a guy who was 16 years old when I was 12, he masterminded and built in the middle of those logs a
Yeah.
shack, a little building, a little shack
Like a
that
log,
had
like a log
that it,
cabin.
it's just yeah, it had log cabin aspects. He used yes, right,
I mean, logs.
exactly,
Yeah.
and logs, and it had a door that lowered like over a moat, so you
Nice, like
couldn't
a
get into
castle.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
had
was
to, you had
just
to
a
know the
shack.
password or something.
Wayne Van Wy, he was the mastermind. Was the but he had built as we were growing up different shacks like that in different places.
Right.
And one year when we were sitting around the baseball field, right after a game, and the whole neighborhood was there, enough to, it was like 10, 14 kids if everybody was there, all ages. He like since he was the oldest one, he mowed the field and whatnot when I was 12 to get the field mowed. But we're all sitting around, and he says, so I built a shack, a hidden fort,
A hidden, yeah.
and
A kid would have called it a
and
fort.
and you need to find it, and when you find it, you can have it. But
Cool.
first, you have to find it.
What a mystery.
And we searched high and low. I found it. I was the one who found it. And
Yeah.
what he had done, and what I found first was in a copse of pine trees. I found fresh dirt,
Ooh.
pile of, and I traced where
Something
the
was
steps
buried.
went. No, well, no, it was dirt that was moved there.
All right.
So I traced the steps back to a tree where uh, a rodent, muskrat or whatever, near the edge of the bank, groundhog, had dug in the root of a tree in a sandy bank where the tree trunk created this massive opportunity that when you dug under the tree trunk, under the sand, he created a
Oh,
room in there with
cool.
places to sit, places for candle holders. You could
Nice.
hold 4 or 5 people in here, and the ceiling was the roots in the earth. And
Yeah.
he had dug out the sand, started by the groundhog, but
Right.
I had located where the dirt was and went backwards. He had taken the hole in between uh, the roots of the tree, and he had removed all the dirt,
Yeah.
not a trace of it. Put a burlap sack over the hole, and then put some down branches with leaves on them over the burlap,
That is
and
the
that's where it
coolest.
was hid.
When you're 12, that's the coolest thing ever.
And he gave it to us. We went in there. Everybody was invited.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, clearly, what he loved was the creation and the ideation of these
what a
little
marvelous
holes.
man, the young man to do that. So there's another part of the story.
Well, I was going to say,
So
did you have a club of, did you
well, it
have
didn't
club
last
meetings down
long.
there
It didn't last long
because of politics?
because well, apparently my older brother Joe
Uh oh.
had a run-in with my friend Dougie, brother Jimmy. So me and Dougie were friends, and our older brothers Jimmy and Joey
Uh huh.
had a run-in of one kind or another. And I can't remember what it was about. Maybe I'll remember as I'm telling the story. But as a result,
Someone
when
destroyed it.
Joe, when Joe, my brother Joe, was with us in the fort, in the underground fort,
Yeah.
not having been in the crew that found it,
Right.
he was invited to come up and thought it was way cool. But he brought his altercation with Jimmy with him unbeknowingly, and Jimmy was up on top of the underground fort with us in it, pounding on
No.
it to cave it in, and he had in his hands
And bury you all
a
alive.
green fishing net that he was ripping up into pieces and screaming about, which apparently was about some incident with Joey and Jimmy about fishing gear or something
Uh huh.
that had happened while we were looking and found the fort. So Jimmy on a rampage trying to kill Joe,
Right.
and we were in there. The the dirt's starting to fall.
Yeah, that's
it's
scary.
he's pounding. We all crawl out one at a time like groundhogs out of this thing and
Right.
tumble into the grass, and he continues his rampage until he caves the whole fucking thing in. And then for all those years, 12, 13, 14, I'd go there and that hole ended up filling up with water.
Right, as holes do.
And I went back for a few years anyway and looked at it and fondly remembered my youth.
Mm-hmm. So how long was it a cool play space before emotions destroyed it?
Hours,
No.
day, hours, yeah, hours, days at most, a day at most. It wasn't like weekends. I
Be-
think we went in, we found it, we went home. Maybe it was that same day we went back, but it wasn't much. It was
because
short lived.
because
It was short lived.
you know it took at least a week or two to construct.
So there was a fight up above as a result of the thumping and the caving in, right?
Yeah.
And guess who was wrestling with Jimmy? Not Joey, who escaped, without being suffocated in the dirt with his life,
Right.
but Wayne. Wayne Van Wy was scuffling with Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then they had a major fight. And we ran home. Particularly Joe with his freaking tail between his fucking legs.
Hmm.
What I don't know what I'd have to ask him about the fishing net. I'll have to remember to ask him what the fuck was that all about?
Man.
Does he remember?